What up, guys? Back again with another UFC fight picks video on the UFC 220 card, MIOCIC versus Ngannou. Let's go ahead and get started here with the fight pass prelims. So first fight of the night, we got Makhachev versus Gleison Tibau. So Tibau's been gone for a while. As you guys can see right there, he hasn't fought since November 7th of 2015. So it's been, a little bit over 2 years. And his last fight was a disqualification against Trujillo. I forgot what happened in that fight. I think Tibau caught Trujillo in the choke, and it's a DQ because Tibau was caught with something. I think that's what happened with that. So yeah, it's been a while since we've seen him fight, and now he's gonna fight Makhachev. Very known for being one of Khabib's training partners, and I think this is his cousin. I don't think they got it posted on here though. So yeah, Khabib's this guy's cousin or something like that. This guy only has one loss in his career to Adriano Martins. He got knocked out in the first round, so this guy can get knocked out. But he's fighting Tibau, who, I mean, just look at those knockouts right there. He has 8% of his wins by knockout out of, what is that, 52 fights. So yeah, this guy, more than likely he's not going to knock you out. Tibau's mostly a grinder, and that's kind of what Makhachev does. So I predict for this fight to be very boring. It could be kind of a stalemate type of fight, very similar to the Khabib fight against Tibau. A lot of people think Tibau should have won that fight against Khabib. So I could see this fight being kind of similar. I could see Islam struggling to take down Tibau, seeing as Tibau has 92% takedown defense. That's very high, and he's also very physical. Still looks in great shape, even though, like I was saying, I don't know if you saw it, caught him with something or whatever, but he still looks pretty yoked. So yeah, I see this being kind of a close fight, but I'm gonna go and just stick with Makhachev here on this pick. I think his striking is probably a little bit sharper, and I think he'll still, maybe if he's lucky, get a takedown or two in to win the fight. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Makhachev, but I do think it's gonna be kind of a boring fight with not that much action. So yeah, Makhachev by decision. All right, next fight we got Matt Bocek against Enrique Barzola. Pretty easy fight for me to pick here. I'm picking Barzola. He's looked pretty good in the UFC. Pretty good striking, good output, and really good wrestling. And he's fighting against a guy that I think this guy actually lost his fight in the Dana White show, the Contender Series or whatever. Yeah, that fight was overturned, but this guy actually lost his fight. So I don't know why they give him the chance here, to get in the UFC. I guess they were like, oh well, that guy, whatever, he was banned with something or whatever. So they're like, let's just give it to the guy that lost. But anyways, yeah, I don't see Matt Bocek here doing too much. I mean, he has good striking output there, but I think Barzola here will control the fight. I think he'll take him down. I think he could strike with him also. So I just see Barzola winning this fight overall. And I don't know, maybe we could see a finish here. I mean, Matt got finished not too long ago, so we could see a finish from Barzola, but at the same time, Barzola's content with just, getting the win here. So I'll say Barzola by decision. All right, next fight we got Dan Ige versus Julio Arce in the FS1 prelims. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pick Julio Arce on this one. I like his striking. Really good boxing, very high volume and output. Takedown defense looks decent. Dan Ige is primarily a grappler. Looks for the takedowns, has good submissions. So it's kind of like a grappler versus striker matchup. Julio is a slight favorite there, -135, and I do think he's gonna come out on top. All he really has to do is just stop the takedown. He's a lot sharper on the feet. He's a lot faster, really fast hands, and good power also. So yeah, I see Julio winning this fight unless Dan is able to get a couple of those takedowns in and win the fight like that. And Julio's losses, I think they were saying it's to Brian Kelleher, who's in the UFC, and that guy's kind of like a submission grappler type of guy. So I don't know, maybe this could be a bad matchup for Arce. I mean, the odds are close, so maybe Dan could get a win here. But overall, I do think Julio gets the win. So I'm going to take Arce to win by decision. All right, next fight, we got Dustin Ortiz versus Aleksandar Pantoja. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Ortiz on this one. I counted him out on his last fight against Hector Sandoval, and he knocks him out in the first round. That was, pretty impressive in a flyweight fight, especially. Knocks him out very quickly. And now he's going to fight one of these up-and-coming guys in the flyweight division, Aleksandar Pantoja. Pantoja's pretty well-rounded, good striking, and he's mostly, a jiu-jitsu guy, though. So, he has that ground game also. Ortiz, obviously known for having, good wrestling, good cardio, good pace. His striking is also pretty good. Not an elite striker, but, just does enough, with the striking. So the odds here, you got Pantoja. So it's kind of similar to that last fight. He's a very slight favorite. Yeah, I mean, Pantoja's probably the smart pick here, but I think Ortiz could be a good underdog pick. So I'm going to go ahead and take Ortiz on this one. I think he gets it done. I think his stand-up and takedown defense will have to win him the fight. If he gets to the ground with Pantoja, Ortiz could also scramble. So, it's not like Ortiz is a bum on the ground. So, yeah, I like Ortiz in this fight, and I'm going to go ahead and say he wins by decision. All right, next fight. Sabah Massey versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. So this fight already happened, and Razak Al Hassan, or Razak Al Hassan, won the fight. Let's just take a look here at the stats of that real quick. So I think it ended in the first round. Yeah, first round knockout. You guys can see the stats right there. Anyways, so yeah, Al Hassan won the fight. But, they said it was kind of like an early stoppage, very controversial because Hamasi stood right up. But when he fell, it kind of did look like, he got hurt. So, I guess they said, what, that's too much of an early stoppage. And that guy did get up real quick after the knockout. He got up, right away. So, I guess it was kind of an early stoppage. So, they decided to do the fight again. Obviously Al Hassan won the fight still, and he is still a favorite here, 2-1. Hamasi looked like he put up a good fight there, but obviously both of these guys took some damage. I'm gonna go ahead and take Al Hassan on this one. I think this time he'll have a more cleaner victory, and this time I think he'll take it easy on that first round and probably finish him in the second. So I'll take Al Hassan, second round knockout. Next fight, we got Bocek versus Brandon Davis. Featured fight on the prelims. Before you guys get to that pay-per-view. Yeah, I like Brandon Davis on this one, man. Really good striking output. Really good multi. Throws those elbows. Yeah, man, I like his striking style. He throws a lot. Very aggressive. A lot of pressure. Good cardio. And he's fighting Bocek, who, hasn't done much in the UFC, hasn't looked that great. He has decent striking, but that's kind of about it. He's not that great, so I see Brandon Davis winning the fight, and Davis is the favorite here, very slight favorite, and I think he should be a bigger favorite because Bocek hasn't looked too impressive, and Davis did look pretty good in that Contender Series, but obviously that's still not in the UFC, so maybe that's why the fight seems kind of close there with the odds. But I think Brandon Davis is going to be able to put it on him with the striking. And Bocek seems pretty durable, so I'll say Davis wins this fight by decision. All right, guys, so now we're on to the pay-per-view. We got Thomas Almeida versus Rob Font. Pretty good fight here. Seems very close. Let me just open up the pages here real quick. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Almeida's page. There it is right here. So we got his last fight was against Julio Rivera, where he lost by decision, but it was a good fight. And he got his shots in, as you guys can see there by his strikes landed. Before that, he knocks out Albert Morales, and before that, he gets knocked out by Cody Garbrandt. A lot of people said or been saying that Almeida is kind of chinny, but now he's fighting Rob Font. Rob Font does have some wins by knockout there, so you never know. Maybe he can catch him with something. But Rob Font's coming off a loss here to Pedro Munoz, who's pretty much a grappler. And yeah, Rob Font was winning the stand-up, and for some reason, I think Rob Font went for a takedown or something, and then he gets caught with a guillotine, I think, from Pedro Munoz. So he made a big mistake there in that fight. Before that, he looks good against Douglas Silva de Andrade, and then he also knocks out Matt Schnell. What else? Anyway, so yeah, Rob Font has also lost to John Lineker. But the way I see this fight playing now, I see it being a fun stand-up fight. Both these guys like to throw hands, both good strikers, but I just feel like Almeida here is going to be able to get the win. I like his pressure, I like his moving forward type of attack, and it looks to me like Rob Font struggles with that, as seen in that Lineker fight and as seen in that Pedro Munoz fight, where obviously both guys are be able to go forward on Rob Font, and Rob Font doesn't seem to be that good when he's going backwards. So I could see Almeida putting up the pressure on Rob Font and landing some shots and winning the fight like that. Rob Font seems pretty durable though. Almeida, his durability, I kind of question it a bit. So there's a chance Rob Font could catch him here. But at the same time, Almeida could also catch Rob Font. Almeida has power himself. So we could see a finish here. So I'm going to go ahead and just say Almeida, second round knockout. But I do think it's going to be a close, fun fight. Alright, next fight we got Gian Villante versus Francimir Barroso. So both these guys are not that good. Right off the bat, I just got to say that. I don't know how Villante is actually ranked 15. That's just how you know the 205 division is pretty trash. Barroso, not that great. And Villante, obviously not that great. So let's just go ahead and open up the pages here real quick. Get some info on some of these guys. Alright, so Villante does got some power though in his hands, so I'll give him that. He's actually on a 2-fight losing streak. His last fight he lost by split decision against Patrick Cummins, and against Shogun Hua he gets knocked out. Before that he beats some Russian guy by knockout in the second round. And Barroso is coming off a loss against, I think, some guy that was making his UFC debut. He loses that fight by decision. This guy's very low volume also. Barroso doesn't throw that much strikes at all. And before that, he actually beats Darren Stewart. I think that guy's kind of like a striker, and Barroso pretty much just exposes his takedown defense and just takes him down at will. As you guys can see there, by 7 takedowns in that fight. So yeah, I see this fight being pretty boring. I think Barroso's takedowns are going to be, stopped by Villante's takedown defense. He seems to be pretty good with that takedown defense. And on the stand-up, I gotta say Villante probably has the stand-up advantage, but at the same time, like I said, both these guys ain't that good, and you got Villante. As a slight favorite. It makes sense for him to be the favorite because Barroso's just bad. He's not that great, but Villante's not that good either. So it's kind of like pick your poison here. I see this being a very slow-paced fight, very boring fight. But I'm just gonna go ahead and pick Villante on this one. I think he'll just get the win, but it's gonna be a bad fight. So I'll say Villante by decision. All right, guys. Now for the next fight, we got Calvin Kattar versus Shane Burgos. This should be a really good fight. I really like Shane Burgos' style, and he's one of these guys that I like, watching fight right now at this time. One of these up-and-coming guys. Calvin Kattar is coming off a win against Andre Fili. I didn't really expect that at all when that fight happened. I was like, who is this guy? This guy was able to beat Fili, and he looked pretty good in that fight. So yeah, Qatar's pretty solid from what I remember. Pretty solid striking. Seems to be kind of an all-around type of fighter. Burgos is a good striker. You guys can see here he's on a 3-fight win streak here in the UFC, but he's obviously undefeated. What I like about Shane Burgos is that he lands a lot of volume, and he's very aggressive, and he's always throwing strikes pretty much. He stays busy on the feet, and his takedown defense also looks pretty good. Qatar looks like he has good takedowns, but on the stand-up, I feel Burgos will have the advantage. He's also a little bit more rangier with a 3-inch reach advantage there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Shane Burgos. Let's see, Burgos is actually 2-1 favorite, so he's actually a lot more. He's actually a more bigger favorite than I thought. I thought the fight would be a little bit closer than that, but obviously a lot of people are picking Shane Burgos now. It makes sense though. I do think Burgos is gonna get the win here, and I think his striking will win the fight. But obviously you can't count out Calvin Qatar. That guy was able to beat Philly, and he looked good in that fight. So you never know. But I'm gonna go ahead and take Burgos on this one, and I think Qatar's pretty durable, and it could be one of those fun type of fights. So I'll say Burgos wins by decision. Alright guys, so now we're on to the co-main event. We got DC versus Volkan Oezdemir, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick a sleeper, and that's gonna be Volkan Oezdemir. So I counted this guy out against Surkunov. He knocks him out, and then I pick him to beat Jimmy Manuwa, and then obviously he beats Jimmy Manuwa. So I'm like, all right, I'm back on Volkan. I remember I picked him to beat OSP also, because OSP is just bad. And then I had to pick Surkunov against them because I thought Surkunov would be able to use that that grappling, but then obviously Surkunov has shown that he can't really take a good punch. So yeah, man, Volkan's been surprising people. He has really good power, good striking. He seems to have good cardio also. I mean, this is his first time fighting 5 rounds though, so that could be an issue. But Oezdemir got that power, man. He got that power. He has good combinations. He moves forward. He's a tough guy, and yeah, man, he's pretty solid. So we got DC here. Obviously, everybody knows about DC already. Good wrestling, also good striking himself. He's gonna move forward, gonna put the pressure on you, and he's gonna try to look for those takedowns. I think early on it's gonna be hard to take Volkan Oezdemir to the ground, so he's gonna have to stand with Volkan, and I think that's where Volkan's gonna be able to unload those combos. And we did see Cormier get finished by John Jones not that recently, but recently. And obviously that's got to do some damage to Daniel Cormier here, who's obviously getting older. So I do think Oezdemir here, is gonna have to take him out here early, probably first or second round knockout. So yeah, I think he has a good shot at beating him, and I think Cormier here is gonna struggle in this fight. I think he's really counting out Volkan, and a lot of people be counting out Volkan, but I mean, look at the odds there. I don't know why a lot of people are counting him out. Cormier's getting older, and you never know. Maybe he's still good enough to beat Volkan, but I think Volkan's gonna be able to get it done. So it's kind of one of those gut feelings, and I'm gonna go with that. So I'm picking Volkan to win. I'm gonna go ahead and say second round knockout, but it could also be first round knockout. Even if it goes to decision, I could see Volkan landing a lot of good shots, and still even possibly winning by decision. But for sure, more than likely, Volkan wins, second round knockout. Alright guys, now we're on to the main event. We got Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou. So Ngannou's the favorite here, almost 2-1. It's crazy because Stipe's the champion, and everybody's always counting out Stipe, and he always comes back to win. And I'm gonna go ahead and have to count him out again. I'm picking against Stipe. I'm picking Francis Ngannou. This guy's just a freak athlete. Obviously, just looks like a force. Looks, very physical. He's very strong. Huge reach. Good striking. Obviously, very huge power. He's a finisher. None of his fights that he's won has he ever went the distance. He always knocks people out or taps them out also with submissions. yeah, man, and it's just getting better. I think they made this fight quickly because, you know, they're noticing Ngannou's getting a lot of hype. You know, everybody's getting on the Ngannou train, so they're like, oh fuck, we gotta take advantage of this, and, you know, have him challenge for the title already, and they did. So, you know, Stipe, you know, he's a tough guy, really good wrestling, good boxing, but I just feel like Ngannou's gonna be able to clip him. You know, I feel like Ngannou's gonna be too strong for Stipe to take down early in the fight. I think if Stipe wins this fight, he's gonna have to avoid the power first 2 rounds, but that's gonna be too hard with Francis Ngannou, a guy that hits too hard and who's also pretty, you know, deceptively fast for his weight. So yeah, man, I think Stipe's gonna struggle here in this fight. I think he's gonna get knocked out, and I do see it happening early in the fight, possibly first round knockout, maybe second round knockout, but I do think Ngannou gets the job done. So I'm picking Francis Ngannou to win. We'll go ahead and just say first round knockout, man. Sucks for Stipe, but like I'm saying, I think if Stipe wants to win this fight, he got to be able to avoid the power, and it's going to be too hard for him to do, man. I mean, if he's able to avoid the power, if he survives first 2 rounds, then, man, I think Stipe guts that fight. But, you know, yeah. I mean, Ngannou just looks too strong. He looks good in the clinch. Overeem tried to get him there. Overeem couldn't do anything. So, yeah, man. Ngannou, first round KO. So, yeah, guys, that about does it here for the picks. Let me give you guys our most confident pick. So, most confident pick would have to be, let's see who we got here. A lot of these fights are pretty close, though. I'm not going to lie. A lot of these fights are close. So, most confident pick, I'm going to have to go ahead and say Shane Burgos, Francis Ngannou, and Enrique Barzola. So, those are my top 3 most confident picks. Ngannou, Barzola, and Shane Burgos. Least confident pick would have to be probably just yeah, but I'm pretty confident that Oezdemir gets it done, you know. So, well, he's the underdog though, so maybe he could be my, you know, least confident pick. Maybe, or maybe yeah, let's just stick with Volkan. I'll say he's my least confident pick just because he is probably, I think he's the biggest underdog on the card. So yeah, I'll just say Volkan. So yeah, guys, that does it for me here for the picks. Let me know who you guys picked in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about my picks, what you guys disagree with. You know, let's have some MMA talk. And yeah, hopefully you guys subscribe to the channel. I gotta get to 1,000 subscribers in a month, or they're gonna cut out my monetization. I think it's gonna be too hard for me to do, but you know, if you guys watch this, you know, consider subscribing. So yeah, let me just go ahead and throw that out there one time. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Subscribe, like I said. Enjoy the fights, and yeah, catch you guys on the next video.